Live. Good day and welcome back, viewers of AG News. I hope I find you well wherever you are. Olisi Ncube is my name, and I am here to update you on the latest on the Zimbabwe Exemption Permits, especially following a court challenge that many of you may already know about. You will remember that the Helen Suzman Foundation has taken the Home Affairs Department to court over their decision to cancel the Zimbabwe Exemption Permit or over their decision to not renew the Zimbabwe Exemption Permit. So this case is an ongoing case. So the Home Affairs Department has just issued a response to this court challenge, and I'm going to go through it for you. But before I go into the statement from Home Affairs, which was released just a few minutes ago, I would like to ask you to subscribe to this channel, to like this video, and to also share it so that even those who may not be live right now may then get to see it and save us time from responding to some questions that may arise from this. So here is a statement, and it was published today on the 28th of June 2022. It's titled Statement of Home Affairs Minister Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi on court action launched by the Helen Suzman Foundation on the decision not to extend exemptions granted to Zimbabwean nationals. So, in an open and transparent democracy, organs of civil society have an important role to play. Most of the times, they do so in the national interest. That's how goes the statement. However, at times, some of them can be a stumbling block in the implementation of government's rational and lawful decisions, which are in the national interest. The recent surprising court action launched by the Helen Suzman Foundation, HSF, is a perfect example of the destructive role that some non-governmental organizations are capable of. The Minister of Home Affairs has always engaged the HSF regarding some of the challenges faced by the department in the past. The Minister has engaged with HSF on several occasions with positive outcomes. Since the announcement of the decision of the minister not to extend the exemption granted to Zimbabwean nationals, he has engaged with several members of civil society with a view to manage the consequences of his decision collectively. This time around, the HSF was conspicuous by its silence. Little did the minister know that the HSF was behind the scenes planning the so-called public interest court action. There is a disturbing and growing trend by some NGOs to sabotage the polycentric and policy-laden decisions taken by government by using the courts. This development must be nipped in the bud as soon as possible. South Africa is now under the dictatorship of some of the NGOs, with some having faceless and dubious funders. Their ultimate aim is to assist in the dislodgement of government of the day from power by all means available. The decision of the minister not to extend the exemptions granted to Zimbabwean nationals has been widely supported by South African citizens. The HSF, in its desperate bid to blackmail the nation, is twisting the support for the minister's decision by the majority of South African citizens as being xenophobic. Nothing could be further from the truth. The HSF access to the courts is guaranteed in the Constitution. However, this should not be a license to abuse the Bill of Rights by some armchair critics who have no idea of the sacrifices and deaths of many freedom fighters while they sat in the comfort of their homes because of the color of their skin. They now claim to be champions of the human rights of the African people in the whole continent. The HSF is now conveniently playing the victim card by alleging that it is being threatened We have no evidence of the alleged threat. If it is true, the minister does not condone and strongly condemns such threats. On the contrary, it is public knowledge that the minister was openly threatened after taking the decision. Death threats were issued against him publicly. The minister and the Department of Home Affairs will vigorously defend the lawful, reasonable, and rational decision of the minister. We cannot be expected to throw up our hands in despair and fail the people of South Africa. Having said that, the minister's door is always open for constructive engagement rather than waste the ever-shrinking government's resources to defend unnecessary court challenges. The minister hopes that sense will prevail and that the HSF will opt for engagement than embark on a spurious court action which can only lead to further tensions between citizens and foreign nationals. If HSF has the interest of Africans in the continent at heart, the minister expects it to play its constructive role in assisting the affected Zimbabwean nationals to apply for one or the other visas provided for in the Immigration Act. The minister calls upon all affected Zimbabwean nationals to ignore the false hope created by the HSF and adhere to procedures outlined by the department in various public notices and communication. Additional information on the minister's decision are available on the department's website. Then the link is provided there. Then says affected Zimbabwean nationals who still need guidance can send their queries to zepinquiries@dha.gov.za. So going through this statement, you'll agree with me that it is emotionally charged. It is full of anger. It is also trying to draw a line of conflict between general South Africans and Zimbabweans, especially because you cannot, having taken a decision as a government and then start involving people who had nothing to do with your decisions as if this is in their favor. And the worrying factor here is that this case is before the courts. And what the best that the ministry could have said was that, okay, we respect they are saying that they respect the Helen Suzman Foundation's constitutional right to go to court. And then at the same vein, you then issue this charged statement against the same people whose rights you say you are respecting. So at the end of the day, even including this invocation of people who died in the liberation strike, I think this is a statement which is those who come from Zimbabwe would be very familiar with these kinds of statements, especially being issued by the Zimbabwean government of ZANU-PF. It goes to an extent of threatening people who go the legal way, because if a case is before the courts, the best that a law-abiding government would do is respect that decision, go through the court case, defend itself, and come out victorious. Or even if they lose it, they accept that they lost the case. But here in this case, we're having a statement which is fully charged with a lot of undertones and overtones directed at not only the Helen Suzman Foundation, but also those who stand to benefit from a positive court action which favors the Helen Suzman Foundation, who are Zimbabweans. Because by doing this, a South African who's reading this statement then gathers anger against not only the Helen Suzman Foundation, but also Zimbabwean nationals who are already among the foreigners who are threatened by, especially the operations of right-wing movements like Operation Tutula, right-wing political parties that we have seen. So it boggles the mind why a government department would go to such length. Is it the case of them sensing defeat and saying, even if we are defeated, we went to war to liberate this country, we have already sacrificed the blood of some of our citizens, and we are ready to sacrifice even more? I don't know, but I read the statement in full, and it's up to you to then deduce what you think it means. But I believe South Africa is fast cascading to the levels that we've seen in Zimbabwe, to the levels that are worrying. And this this should not worry just Zimbabweans or other other non-South Africans. It should worry even South Africans themselves, because this is a South African organization, and they're even pointed out for their race, that some of them were even during the war, some of these people were sitting on their armchairs because of their race, because they were covered by the laws that were there by then. So therefore, they are not South African enough anymore because of their race, and therefore they cannot come back and say that they are champions of democracy, they are champions of constitutionalism. This is exactly that we saw in the early 2000s in Zimbabwe, when Mugabe came out and said some judges were politically incorrect, and we saw some judges being purged. We saw some judges of the High Court being purged. This is a serious red flag, especially coming from a government department in a country which has been known all over the African continent and worldwide for respecting its institutions, for having working institutions. So I think this statement on its own deserves a thorough engagement. It deserves thorough assessment. It deserves thorough critiquing by the ministry itself, which issued it, because it doesn't bode well with a country that respects democracy like South Africa has always been. We've got a message from Oka Chavengwa. This statement is very shameful and toxic, very emotional and inciting. Very emotional and inciting statement. Who wrote this statement? It surely cannot be the minister. If it's him, I'm afraid this is not just about permits. This is very true. Somebody says, well done, Aaron Motsoaledi, and this is Dudu Mzuge. I don't even think this is somebody's name. I think it's a fake name, but we've seen this account. It's always anti-migrants, but well, that's your right. You've got your reasons. We respect that. But back to the statement, I will leave it for people to comment. You can send us your comments via the comment section under this video. Please don't forget to subscribe, to like and share. We'll invite some legal experts to review this statement and what it means. But for me sitting here, I'm very, very much concerned, because I was in Zimbabwe when Robert Mugabe began to take this kind of approach. South Africans may celebrate now, but this is a serious red flag, because one day it will be the government of South Africa versus South Africans, because once a precedence is set, this is what we saw in Zimbabwe. Mugabe said judges, because they were white, led by the then Chief Justice Anthony Gabe, were politically incorrect. He went all the way to issuing racial overtones and undertones. And the next, we saw the judges being purged. We saw the Zimbabwean judiciary being purged and being captured. That was after the judiciary in Zimbabwe had ruled that the violent farm seizures were unconstitutional. Now we are seeing the same thing, especially the racial aspect of this statement and the incitement that it gives out to South Africans, that this will endanger the lives of, not in those words, but an insinuation that if the Helen Suzman Foundation wins this court case, this will endanger the lives of foreign nationals, especially Zimbabweans, by South Africans. What does it mean? It means there's going to be xenophobia. Who will be behind this xenophobia? I will leave it for you to guess. But we saw the same kind of thing when Mugabe targeted white judges. The next, he was targeting white farmers. The next, he was targeting white business persons. The next, he was targeting every white person. And some blacks were celebrating when we sounded this warning. Eventually, you can't win a case against the government in Zimbabwe. And even if you win it, you are sure that it's not going to be implemented. And this is the kind of danger that we are seeing. And South Africans, this is coming for you. Thank you very much. Subscribe, share, and like the video.